Hello, buddy. It's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research, here to summarize to you my top 3 takeaway from SAP TechEd 2024. Now, to start, first the good news, right? Contrary to previous editions of TechEd, this one was full of new announcements that are critical for everybody in the SAP ecosystem, and being TechEd, obviously, for the more technology-centered people, especially developers, right? It's 2024, so first takeaway is, of course, Joule, and Joule is literally everywhere, right? It does code explanation and documentation. It automates workflows in SAP Build process automation. It integrates, of course, with SAP Build Work Zone. And what's important at the end of 2024, it's all about agents. Joule becomes agent related in twice. It becomes an agent by itself. It automates complex workflows. It supports, and that's very interesting, logical reasoning. And reasoning is really at the cusp of the cutting edge when it comes to AI these days, and will be very interesting when this will be unveiled, how good the Joule reasoning engine will be. Developers can extend Joule with their own AI, which they'll bring along, not bring your own model, but bring your own AI via SAP Build. And by the way, SAP Build is really becoming the one place where to do anything with code on the SAP side. That's the important thing we'll talk about in a moment. And it's not only available in the private cloud edition, but in the public cloud edition, which is important because more and more new SAP net new customers are in the public cloud and need to build their code artifacts there. But also important for the customers not to be left behind on the private cloud edition. So an implementation wizard to evaluate which extensions are there and access them from low code, no code, pro code. Up to 300 most used Fiori apps get support of Build, so they'll give support of Joule. So that's a great way to re-equip or to equip your existing Fiori applications, which there are a lot of them out there, with AI. And then, very important, one of the biggest challenges is like the amount of data that SAP has in its data structures to manage that. So there's a master data change capability, which allows you to make it easier to change master data. So you have to. And then, of course, Joule not only as the AI which you put into SAP applications, Joule also to help SAP applications and platforms better. In this case, the BTP, where Joule helps you to help administer users, onboard users, which is finicky work, which could be automated with AI. So it's good for SAP doing this. Now, the important thing is Joule is really meant to be there, right? 1 year ago it was announced. Now you find it across all the SAP applications, right? From Service Cloud and Sales Cloud, inside of Concur, inside business planning, into digital manufacturing, performance management, across supply chain, which is still a little vague, right? The digital manufacturing is there. Mentioned Sales Cloud, Lean IX on the infrastructure side, and then Signavio from the process mining perspective, and last but not least, the mobile start capabilities. So all of that is part of SAP Build, which is the center part of doing everything. And the extension of SAP putting this into all these applications means that if a developer has to put things on top of that, change that. So that's very important. This is where Joule Studio comes in, where it allows me to bring third-party skills and implement them. So tangential a little bit to Joule, but very, very important is, I mentioned this in the little preview before, sorry for stealing the thunder here, is that there's a lot of complexity in the SAP schema where data is stored in HANA Cloud data capture elements and core data services, as an example, Fiori apps and so on. And SAP is creating a knowledge graph, which allows you to handle all of that complexity in an easy way. And of course, the interesting thing is once you have the knowledge graph, you put this into a vector database and make it accessible and allow for common administration, extension, management of the overall underlying complexity. And it's massive, right? It's 450,000 ABAP tables are behind there and 80,000 core data services provided there, as well as the Fiori app. So very impressive. And most impressive probably is not a long announcement time thing. Everything I talked to you about right now is being available now in Q4 2024, which is halfway through, and potentially or likely announced for Q1 in 2025. So it's all around the corner. But let's talk about what was really the key thing for the SAP ecosystem, not just Joules being added, but was really about ABAP, right? Started a long time ago, the venerable Allgemeine Berichts- und Auswertungsprogrammierung started as a low-code, no-code tool to create what is a perennial problem of business applications, to create reports, right? Selection criteria and reports. And that was hold yourself onto it. That was done for R2. It was the low-code, no-code innovation to build your own reports as a customer, enabling you to create your own selection screens and the list formats, manage the list format. And when R3 happened around 1992, the idea was, hey, why can't we use this? We already have the ability to build screens and masks, which is key, critical for any ERP system, and lists. Why don't we make the search results persistent? Because we have the validation of entries and so on. And that is why ABAP is the core foundation of SAP today. And when SAP has the moniker, wrote a blog post about this already, SAP says the world runs on SAP. Well, the reality is the world runs on ABAP in English American. So the important thing is, like I mentioned before, SAP Build becomes central for all of this, and it gets now support for ABAP Cloud, the way how you build ABAP application. And ABAP tools and environments are now part of SAP Build overall, which is critical because everybody wants a single pane of glass. Everybody wants to have a single point where to start. So it's not different environments which you have to sync, which are not in sync, because often the artifacts which developers are supposed to create are a combination of different environments and different programming languages, may it be on the pro code side, on the low code, no code side, or on the ABAP side. You're able to monitor ABAP projects. They're in the build lobby, right? The enter place, nice to call it lobby, where you start doing things. You know what is going on, where it might need your attention starting your day. It has the extensibility wizard for the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. So very important for customers to contain the clean core. We'll talk about that in probably another video. And it's important that when you do this for the first time, that you don't get your fingers or feet dirty in this process. So there's a review ability that allows you to say you're clean, you keep the core clean with the code you generated, or you created, right? Generated is the next thing, because you can generate ABAP code with Joule, which is very important. But not only the code, and this is how it should be done as code gets generated. When I generate the coding logic, I can also at least generate the unit test logic. So no code in the AI area generated by AI should be shipped without the accompanying unit test, right? And that really allows developers to know my code works, gives their managers the confidence that they're building something that works. It's a best practice since a long time, which very often gets forgotten to write the unit test with the code right away. Because who wants to write unit tests if the unit test is going to be generated? Hey, I'll take that. Any developer will take it. Generate explanations for legacy code. It's a huge challenge for SAP developers and SAP professionals, or ABAP developers and professionals, because so much code has been written ABAP, often by people who are now retired, no longer in the company, often written very, very fast with lots of time pressure, with no review of the code behind it. So having an explanation of that ABAP code, which was built 30 years ago, is probably a very useful capability and something perfectly done from a generative AI perspective. Access to the generative AI hub, that's where the magic happens. If there's one thing critical about the generative AI hub, is coming a little later overall from all the announcements mentioned. And there's an ABAP AI SDK, which is super relevant again for ABAP developers, because you build something where AI might be helping you something, and the ABAP AI SDK allows you to retrofit, to bolt on, or to organically on the ABAP side, they want to call it bolt on, has a bad rap, but add that AI capability to your existing applications. And the same thing is for web apps, which have been built with ABAP, where you can access the Gen AI hub. So good to see that ABAP is no longer a second-class citizen, is fully integrated in Build, or getting fully integrated into Build. And developers can really choose where they want to build, what is the right way for them to build, either with professional code, with standard programming language, or with low-code, no-code, or with ABAP, whatever the best tool for the job is. My third takeaway, after Gen AI and Joule, we have to talk about this, of course, and ABAP being emancipated pretty much with the other programming languages in SAP Build, is data lake. Not much said about this. I've been asking SAP for a long, long time to create a data lake. The HANA in-memory capability is a great capability for building columnar databases. However, business relevant data is growing faster than memory prices fall. So you're always on the losing end within the memory database to get all the data encompassed in that. And SAP Founder House of Platinum has been long the champion between HANA, which has done many good things for SAP, but it has not kept up with what is really where to take information there, which is in lake houses and using object storage. So as a new part of DataSphere, kind of cheekily said, oh, we have extended support now. That wasn't really object store, which is the fast, economical way to store all the information you may want to store in a lake of it, which is there. It adds Spark Compute to that, which is a de facto standard for doing analysis and figuring out things. It does SQL on files. SQL is the lingua franca to get to the information in your lakehouse. And very important, not yet up to date, not all the world's data is inside of SAP. It's open, it will be open for input from non-SAP sources. That is important to make anything relevant of additional data when you think about log files, documents, what's happening in email, any other data which is around the big data revolution which is out there around that. So data lakehouse, data lake support is super, super critical here. And why is it also critical? Because it's the source for AI. So it all fits together. And it's very important for SAP to now have data lake capability. These are our 3 takeaways. This is Holger Mueller from Constellation Research. I'd love to hear what your 3 takeaways are from this TechEd. Please don't be shy, be social, respond to this when you see this. Thanks for watching.